All right, I think the beefs went down. We'll go ahead and get started. Can you guys hear me in the back? Okay, good. Can you guys hear me on the phone?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So just wanted to share, bring everybody in. We got a couple of things that have been pretty monumental that we've done as an entire organization. So I wanted to bring everybody together so we could have a little celebration. If I talk longer than 15 minutes, Paul's going to choke me, so this should be done pretty quickly. So I took some notes here to keep myself on track. But for the first time in 25 years, a big part of our application is under version control. That's a big deal. We've had some variation of version control, but today it's under version control. But there's more. We also have continuous integration, and what that means is that as a developer makes a change to the software, their change is automatically compiled and automatically built as a part of the build process. So we know right away when something is working as soon as we check it in. That's great. That's continuous feedback. I check it in. I don't cross my fingers that the QA tester tests everything. I have reasonable certainty that my code's going to compile and work in production. There's more. We've also have COBOL unit testing. So COBOL is considered a legacy technology, but we've put some modern techniques in place to where when a developer tests or checks in the code, it's automatically tested. So there are unit tests now around the COBOL. There's more. We have scripts. The scripts that we execute aren't compiled. They're executed during runtime, so it's hard to determine whether or not those are working. So we've built syntax checkers that are a part of the build system. So if a developer makes a mistake in the syntax, a mistake in the business logic of COBOL, it's automatically checked. It's a big deal. Really big deal. It took a village to make this happen. This is the Jenkins server that is running all of our builds. It took, ops certainly. They had to put up with a bunch of crap from us. Dev certainly had to change everything. Had to change the way they did everything that they do. The services team had to adopt. I'll continue to call you guys services and dev until when I say dev, everybody knows I'm talking about everybody. Right now, I want to make sure that everyone knows explicitly that I'm talking about you. Services and dev certainly had to change all their processes, and QA certainly is getting used to the changes to the build system. It didn't go as planned. When we first implemented it for a release, it didn't go very well. And we had, we had missing objects, so the build system deployed things. We thought we were supposed to deploy, we thought the build system was deploying everything when we found it wasn't. We discovered that we had some bad compiler options for some of the things that we compiled and deployed. And we also figured out that the way we're deploying isn't surgical enough. So we can't deploy small enough bits to production. We found out that we have processes that run for 12 hours. Who would have figured that Doug Sheets bitching was truthful? The thing I want to emphasize, though, is that through all of that, and I know there were times when some people doubted whether or not we did the right thing. This is human nature. But we pressed forward. And, the thing that I think is the most evident is I suggested at one point to the team that they break the rule and they do it the old way, and they all fought me on it. So the guy that talks about it incessantly was the guy that said, let's break the rules, and everyone else told me what an idiot I was. And that's a big step, guys. That's a big step. We've learned so much through this. We've learned, we've really built a learning culture. We learned that we have to change things. We have to improve things. We learned that we learned a ton through this effort, and that's what I'm probably the most proud of. There's a lot of things that I'm proud of, but we've begun to create what I would consider a safer environment. Our environment today is still not real safe. There's a lot of fingers crossing and a lot of hopes, but we're building that safe environment. So congratulations to that team. we'll start a similar effort on the New Jersey platform probably in the next couple of weeks. There's some other areas that are really important for us to talk about too. I'm really pleased with the way the client services relationship is improving, and I really think they understand that we need to scope hours for improvement, that we can't just get there on sales alone, that improving our software is something we need to take seriously as a team. We need to get our needs scoped, and we need to be honest about the value that those needs bring to the business. We had a charter issue, and we weren't going to make it. We're supposed to be due. It was supposed to be ready by the day after Thanksgiving, and we started testing it the Wednesday before or the Tuesday before, and we gave them an honest. We went to client services and said, "Look, we're not going to get this done, and the best date we can give is 12/1." And I'll be honest with you, I don't think they were very happy about it, but they trusted us. They had our backs. We gave them a reasoned response, and they went to the customer, and they delivered a really tough message for us. And I'm really grateful for that. That was tough. We put them in a bad spot, but they did it for us. And it goes to show that we don't need to push back on client services. We need to give them reasoned responses. Reasoned responses work. They don't work all the time, but they'll work a lot of the time. So I think that's another thing that we learned through all this. I want to make sure that everyone understands that they are a part of our team. They're with us in this. Operations, another thing that we're really working and partnering on. And when I say operations, I'm talking about software IT operations. We're bringing the operational experience to the entire organization. If you've noticed that there's been tears in my eyes most days, it's because Paul added himself to the pager list, and he tells me incessantly about how many times he's woken up at night because our software has a high human toll. We punish the people that work on it. We punish them, all of them. It's not just us. I see a page go back and forth between somebody who's on the on-call rotation in dev and the operations team. I see that happen all the time. The thing that I like about what Paul did was he went to go see what was happening. He wanted to experience it. And as he says, the features write themselves. So there's no creativity, the software is telling us what it needs, what our people need. The services and development team, there will be a time when we can refer to that all as one team, but I love how we're taking exact CSR view and we're getting together and we're working to improve that solution so that there's not 13 different instances, that it doesn't take, what did you say, Charlie, 6 months to change the graphic?
Yep.
We're working together to make that better. That's before it was development created something and services has to deal with it. Now we're all dealing with it and we're all creating it. PM. This is a relationship I'm real proud of too. We have this modernization roadmap, and it's really primarily around getting on new hardware, getting on a new network. And Friday, I was complaining about how what you want isn't that. That's not what you're bitching about. What we're complaining about. We're not complaining about, gosh, if we were just on new hardware, all of our problems would go away. What we're complaining about is, man, I wish we had better alerting. I wish we could validate a file up front. I wish we could clean the system by itself. Those are the things that I'm hearing you complain about. It's not about network and hardware. Well, they took that to heart, and they said, Steve, you can push out your modernization roadmap and make room for those items where your people are actually suffering. That was really impressive. We're looking at some of the main things that we're going to start to look at are some of the things that Paul's team is gathering, because we're spending a lot of time validating files that our customers send in. We're spending a lot of time fixing data, cleaning up after bad data, and we're gonna spend some time in. I'm hopeful we can actually push some stuff out in 18.1 to do some of that work now. I just want to bring everybody together because I think, I'm so happy that we made the move to join services and development together. I really think there's some great improvements that are happening, and it's hard for some of that to be seen and some of the bad things that happen to us day in and day out. And it's time for us to stop and just recognize how good things are and how much better things are getting because of our efforts. I also wanted to bring everybody that supports Output as close as I could, because I think it's really a testament to all of our work. It's not just one team, it's not just two teams, it's all of our work. If you didn't directly impact the version control effort, you indirectly helped it by supporting another effort, by blocking something else. And that's what teamwork is. And I got to tell you, I'm incredibly proud of all of the things that have happened over the last 3 to 4 months. And so I wish Mike Riley was still the coach, because this would make more sense. But he did something after a game that really cemented leadership and really cemented teamwork to me. And he had his team do hip hip hooray after a game. I think it was a Michigan State game. And he'll be a really good coach for Oregon State. He wasn't a very good coach for Nebraska, but he's a heck of a leader. So what I want to do is I want to bring everybody here, and I want us to do hip hip hooray. And I think 3 times is probably appropriate, because we're not all the way there. If 5 is done, we're certainly not done. We may never do 5. So I want to try and get everybody in as close as we can, and I want to do 3 hip hip hoorays, and I want to disturb everybody in the building. Okay? All right? So let's kind of try and get in here as close as we can. Don't be bashful. All right, guys, I'll kick it off. You ready? All right. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Good job, guys. All right, now get back to work.